Shirley. Absent Mary Miller.
Yes.
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 $11 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain, 4 absent, motion carries. Mr. Kessler?
Thank you, Chairman. The next motion was made by Mason Hoff. Motion was for District 3 council representatives to attend district meetings and all council meetings, or they be penalized and have their pay docked for not attending, or pay back the money for not attending the meetings. Bo Buffalo seconded the motion, 16 yes and 2 not voting. That's the motion on the floor.
Second for discussion?
Okay, we got a motion by Mr. Kessler, second by Mrs. Haskell. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everybody. I think if any districts want their representatives to attend, all they have to do is request it. Just like any other, if they want to report from any director of any programs, they just have to request that they do show up. Anybody that we have requested has made an appearance. So, and as far as docking pay for not showing up, if you request them, I'm sure they'll show up. So I'm gonna, I can't support this motion unless there's a district having issues with people not attending. Thank you.
Second's been pulled. Mr. Underwood seconds the motion. Mr. Rose, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. There was a motion really similar to this in the District 6 minutes we went over the other day, and it was deemed in-house, I believe. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I guess we kind of need some clarification on that. I couldn't make one meeting, and so I asked to be excused. And of course, our chairman is Mr. Bartlett, and he said, council reps aren't really required to attend district meetings unless we're invited, because those are district, it's the people that conduct the business. In that, if they request us to come and make a report, then we can. But that, anyway, that was the explanation I was given. So I didn't know that. I just assumed that we had to be at every meeting. But I can understand the rationale. I mean, behind it, that by our presence, we might influence, negatively, or what they want to get done, or it might impede them from free and fair discussion of the issues. I mean, they might feel intimidated by our presence. So anyway, I just I'll continue to go, if I'm invited. Whether or not, and I guess if they don't want me there, they can say, we're discussing this issue, can you please step out or something? And I would honor that and do that. So anyway, thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Mr. Kessler, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll pull this motion, take it back to the district for clarification, clean it up a little bit.
Okay, another thing that's going on is we're going to approach the Claims Committee and to review the prior resolution we proposed on penalties and fines for being late, being absent, not attending at all, or breaking quorum. Perhaps we can incorporate the comments that the council gave the last time back in whenever that was, March or February, and try to come up with a solution on on some of these, and perhaps that could be part of that discussion as well. And, but Mrs. Hall's right. The district is the people's meeting, and the district councilmen are not required to attend, and council members only get paid for attending council sessions. So there's a distinguishment in that pay. So, but yeah, if you want to share those things with the district, they're welcome to too, Mr. Kessler. Thank you. Go ahead.
I disagree with you, Chairman. You're supposed to be the constitutional authority here. When this body's out of not abiding by the Constitution, you and the legal department are supposed to put us back into compliance. When you call these meetings, we're under this Constitution in our deliberation. And if you read in the districts, we took an oath to this IRA Constitution. And then there it says the district president, which could be a council representative. So to me, we took an oath to this Constitution. And these district minutes were called District 1, District 5, District 3 council reps. So it's pretty basic and plain that we should be making reports to our people that voted us in under this IRA Constitution. So again, a constitutional question that hopefully you don't overlook. To me, we got to support, there's action that we support our District 1's actions, whether we like them or not, and try to give them good, sound advice, strengthen their emotions up. That's what they seek and ask. We're all privy to the legal, we're privy to all of these, experts. They're not. They want to know that stuff. So I kind of differ right now, the way what I'm hearing here. Maybe you need to get a constitutional attorney to give a legal on it, and most likely they're going to tell you that you can also be a city council, elected into city councils and wear that hat, or elected into the school board and wear that hat.
Let's not change the topic here, Mr. Underwoods. Mr. Kessler pulled his motion, and he has the floor.
I'm just telling you, you got to keep us. There's questions here you need to answer with your legal department about this question now. Our people need to know. Me, it's a constitutional duty. It has a report, and we tell the districts too. You got to go by this Constitution. When you have your meetings and district, wherever district, this Constitution's right there with you.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Underwoods.
You need to be.
Mr. Kessler has the floor. Thank you, Chairman. Next motion was by LeVay Red Horse, seconded by Red Horse, and it was to adjourn at 6:15. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, thank you, District 3, District 4. Mr. or Mrs. Good Mary. Whoever's going to present the minutes. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There was a district meeting held on November 19th, 2023 in Timberlake, South Dakota. This was rescheduled from the October 18th, 2023. Can you hear me? Okay, I apologize. There was a motion, this first motion to have Kelsey Haskell be the secretary for this meeting, as the district secretary was out sick. That's in-house. And so I'll go to the next motion. Motion by B. Richter to have signs posted 24 hours in advance. Motion pulled, referred to discussion, that's in-house. There was a motion made. There was discussion about elderly protection, wanting keys for the Timberlake Manor to go to law enforcement to do periodic checks for safety of the residents. This was brought up because our Simon said that in an elderly protection team meeting, this was discussed back in like June or so, and nothing was ever brought up to the health committee or law and order in regards to this issue of the keys for all manors to be turned over to law enforcement to do periodic checks due to the issues that were going on at the Timberlake Manor in regards to people drinking and doing drugs in the manor. There was a motion made by Bonita Richter, second by Kendra Enright, that all keys be given to the police for all manors on Cheyenne River, including tribal and county police. Vote 11-4-0 against, 2 abstain. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to refer that to the Housing Authority Board, as well as the chair, and that needs to be addressed there. Second.
We got a motion by Mrs. Miller to refer to the Law and Order Committee
And Housing Authority.
and Housing Authority.
Manor belongs to them. Board or the office? Housing Authority Board and Director.
Okay, second by Mrs. Lee. Mr. Brinks Plenty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just real quick, that could lead into some privacy issues. I mean, there's a expectation of privacy when you rent, even from an individual that's a personal, like a homeowner. But there is a level of expected privacy, and if you just go in there anytime, that could violate those individuals' rights as well. So I think that needs to be discussed further. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, it's a referral, so all in favor, raise your hand. Yes, 0 no, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There was another motion. There was discussion on manor cameras that are working and who controls the data from the cameras and who maintains the cameras. There's a motion by Kendra Enright, second by Bonita Richter, that whoever owns the data from the manor cameras be able to show proof to elderly protection team and the chief of police that the cameras are working on a monthly basis. Vote 12-4-0 against, 1 abstain. Mr. Chairman, I spoke with the Law and Order Committee Chair, and I agree we should refer this to the Housing Authority Director and the board, because the manor belongs to them as well as the security. And I'm sure they'll work with Law and Order, the law enforcement.
Okay, we got a motion to refer by Mrs. Miller. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Rose. All in favor, raise your hand. Yes. Second by Mr. Rose. Got 11 yes, 0 no, motion carries. Mrs. Miller?
Thank you. There was a motion made by Kendra, second by Jackie Riddle, for a check to be made for rent in Timberlake for December 2023, February 2024, April 2024, June 2024, and August 24th, 2024, to be paid to the Timberlake Community Center for District 4 meetings and reserve it for third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. Vote 9-4-0 against, 2 abstain. I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman. There's already a council action to pay for the community building anyway. But I'll make that motion because they alternate months. So 1 month it's in Eagle Butte, the other month it's in Timberlake. So that's how come those months are separated. And I believe it's $100 and it's a deposit. So if there's any damage, they keep it, but if there's not, they return it. So I think what you could do is just keep rotating the same $100 every other month. Do you know what I mean? Back into the pot. So it's really just $100.
Is that the one on Main Street?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, you got a motion by Mrs. Miller, second by Mr. Rose. Comments or questions on the action? Madam Secretary, please call for the vote.
Bryce Sandowitz. Steve Moran.
Yes.
Kenneth Jr. Absent. John Kessler. Yes. Kenrick DePriest. Yes. Sharon Lee.
Yes.
Mary Miller.
Yes.
Kelsey Haskell.
Yes.
Thad Rose.
Yes.
Derek Bartlett. Absent. Francine Hall.
Yes.
Joe Brinksplenny. Bob Walters. Ronald Russo. Absent. Tuffy Thompson. Absent. Thank you.
11 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain, 4 absent, motion carries. Mrs. Miller?
Mr. Chairman, I wasn't at this meeting, I was out with COVID, so I wasn't able to attend, but there was discussion, council representatives being allowed to be counted as part of the quorum, make motions and votes. This is brought up because other districts allow the council reps to be counted as part of the quorum, allowed to make motions and vote, and they finally went in action. Answer because some districts are allowed to do this, but district four is not allowed to do this. There's a motion made by Kevin Wright, seconded by Riley Thompson, for our elected council representatives to be able to vote and be included in the quorum as district members, not council representatives, vote carried 4-0 against one abstain. Mr. Chairman, I think that's in-house. I don't think it has anything to do with tribal council. It's a group of meetings by the district. And, you may need to have authority within their district to make those calls. So I'm going to make a motion here on council floor. It's a district issue. And, that's what I was told before, many years ago, in the council chambers when this was brought up. So I'm just going on what the other council reps who were in office before me, well, it's a district issue.
Chairman LeBeau,
Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to add to that for a minute. Before, when these motions had come up previously, I remember Kevin was on council at that time, that they, some people in District 4, well, 10 people in District 4 out of 1,400 wanted to change the quorum because we was having a hard time getting 10 people at the district meeting. And back then, it was stated that out of 1,400 people, certainly you can get 10 people to make a quorum, so why should the council be voting and stuff? I'm not gonna vote on anything at a district meeting, because it's a people's meeting, we've always been told that, and I'm not gonna make motions there, and I'm not gonna vote, just because some other districts allowing it to be done, and, I don't think it's right, and I'm not going to do that, so thank you.
Ms. Miller, please continue.
Thank you. There was discussion brought to District 4 chair, because District 5 members have not been able to speak up at the district meeting, but they wanted to know about the utilities that were being paid by the tribe for the campers at the power grounds and the health and safety issues of the campers all over Shiner. There was a motion made by Kendra Enright, second by Darjan Long, that the chairman's office stop paying for private water, lights, fuel, and that everybody is able to support services or assistance to the issues. Vote 11 for, 0 against, 0 abstained. Motion carried. I refer to my colleagues because I wasn't there, with regards to that discussion.
I was there, yeah. The Timberlake meeting, they wanted the chairman's office to quit paying for any type of assistance, fuel assistance, any type of cash assistance that they offer, and for everything to be routed through, support services.
Mr. Chairman,
Good.
as a council representative, I want to support my district, and I've always supported my district motions. I keep forgetting, I apologize. As a District 4 council representative, I always try to support my district motions, and I fight very hard for my district motions. However, it's winter time, and I think for them to disconnect the utilities being paid and to stop paying them, I agree with them that they need to go through support services like everybody else, but we should make sure that they're given and afforded that opportunity and that they are being helped rather than just stop paying for it and turning it off. Because it's getting cold, it's winter, and we also have that resolution that talks about people not being without any homes from November 1 to April or whatever. And so, I'll leave it up to my other District 4 colleagues to see what they want to do with it. I'll make the motion and see if I get a second. Or I'll let one of them make the motions, because at this time, I'm unsure about this.
You're unsure about the motion?
Yeah,
About District 4 not
I'll make
wanting?
the motion if they get a second, but I'll vote no, because at this point in juncture, I think it's purely administrative. And apparently some District 5 people came to the District 4 meeting, and they reported that they were not able to speak up at their District 5 meetings, and they wanted to know about the utilities that were being paid by the tribe for the campers at the powwow grounds. So if we can get a report on how that works, we can take it back to our district to report. So I'll make the motion since it came from my district, but and see where it goes. Motion.
A second for discussion. Okay, so I did find out that just so my district knows, I did look into this, and the utilities at the Powell ground are paid for by property and supply, is what I was told. However, they just wanted like the gas and stuff that is handed out at the chairman's office to go through support services so that there was a record of it, so that there was just not gas being handed out to anybody who calls in, because apparently you can call the chairman's office and get gas for any, whatever you need, is this discussion.
Mr. Chairman.
We're spreading rumors now. Gee, everyone's gonna show up.
I'm reporting. I was at the meeting. That is what came up at the district.
Oh, yeah, we don't do that. We send them to the wellness center.
To the treasurer?
Yeah.
So there is a record of what's being spent?
Stop and Mini Mart, we have a PO set up with each one of them. When a person from 8 to 5 is needing gas assistance, they come to the wellness center. They fill out a gas request form. We ask that they attach what their business is when they're needing gas. It could be, most of the time it's medical. Could be coming to pick up commodities. It could be applying for jobs. So we ask that they attach documentation to that. And then there's a half-page form that hooks to the request. And that form, it's multiple copies, 2 copies. A white copy is given to them. They take that copy to Eagle Stop or Mini Mart, and they hand it over and they get their gas. If it's after hours and if it's an emergency, they normally will message myself, or on occasion, they'll message a council rep, and a council rep will forward me a message. I will respond to the person and call the gas in at that point. So if it's after hours or weekends, the gas is called in. Every month, we get a bill from the gas station, and we put that on a voucher and we pay it and send it to them. Over the last few months, most of the gas requests have been about in the $6,000 range that we pay every month. And, but that's how it's handled. We've started using Mini Mart because they're an Indian-owned business, so they also participate in the program. And if you guys want to look at a voucher and see whose names are on it, you can come to dispersing and we'll pull a voucher and you guys can look at the names if that's what you want.
Mr. Chairman, I'll pull my motion.
Okay, motion's been pulled. Did you still want to comment, Mr. Walters? Mr. Brinkman, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One thing, I mean, right now, it's winter months. For some people that have what they need to survive this winter, I mean, it's easy for them to forget about what some of the relatives over there are going through. If somebody passes away over there, then whose fault is it going to be? Exactly. I mean, we have to be thoughtful and help our relatives out over there. I mean, if we're gonna do something like that, I mean, we made past motions in the past to be able to create some other plan, you know, as far as being able to assist people there, but nothing's carried through at this point to where we referred those to assume that, that they can survive without it, because they can't at this point. And a lot of them, they really don't have any resources. Maybe that electricity is the only thing that they have. The district meetings that I was at, Ms. Hall, I don't know if you've witnessed any of the, but everybody that was wanting to speak spoke. Even if there was an argument, they spoke. So, I don't know what to say about that part of it, but, it's, thank you, Mr.
Chairman, I think that when they start arguing, with the chair or they get really disruptive, then that's why we have a sergeant at arms. And because that has happened. And he might call it out of order or something like that. And, you know, it can get pretty intense. And I know the cops have been called, you know, to keep order there. But people get to speak, so.
Thank you, Chairman LeBeau. I know in speaking with some of them, they've been trying to get a lot to put their campers on and trailer, but they haven't been able to find anything yet because, you know, it's really limited in Eagle Butte here. So I know that if they had a different place to put them, then they wouldn't be there. So I think they see it as a temporary solution right now. And with winter, I mean, I agree with Mr. Brings plenty. There's really not much we can do but help them, you know. And I agree, you know. We have our homes and stuff, and where we have heat in our homes and electricity and stuff and water, running water. So you know, people may forget too that, you know, not everyone has the luxuries that other people have too. So, yeah, thank you.
Ready to go on, Mr. Next motion? Next
Good.
motion.
Mrs. Miller, continue.
Okay. Thank you, Council, for sharing that with me. I think talking to Council Representative Haskell, who was in attendance at the meeting, maybe they were just looking for accountability, and it sounds like there is a process already put in place. So I withdrew my motion for the record. There was discussion, public has contacted Dewey County Sheriff, and that they contacted Cheyenne River Housing Authority, CRC Law Enforcement, and the animal shelter, and has no relief. They want help because the dogs in Cheyenne River Housing Authority is not violating the lease of the individuals in regards to the vicious dogs violations. Is violating the lease of the individuals in regards to the vicious dogs violations? Is that just a typo? Because there was a motion following made by Jackie Riddle, second by Ione Jewett, for the AO to follow up with Wakapawa State Animal Shelter and for the people to be able to protect themselves by all means necessary and not to be held liable with the report due in 10 days given to District 4 representatives. Vote 11-4, 0 against, 0 abstain. Without naming names, a child was bitten by a dog. The child now has to receive rabies shots. Nothing was done with the dog. Nothing was done about the dog. The animal shelter had been contacted, but I don't believe it would be animal shelter. Wouldn't it be Game, Fish, and Parks? But I'm not sure. So is there a problem or issue if they live in housing authority houses, whereas non-housing authority houses? Maybe I should refer that to the Law and Order Committee. I'm not sure. As the chair of the Law and Order Committee, what do you think? That's why they're coming to all means necessary, because the dog is still around and coming back. Is my understanding correct, Council Representative Haskell?
That the dog had never been
Taken in.
and the child was still receiving shots.
Go ahead, Mr. Banks, Planning.
Okay, thank you. And also too, is my understanding that they hide the dog
Yes.
when the authorities do come? Okay. If it's something that's severe, law enforcement, of course, would respond. But housing should be, if that's a housing house, then there's rules, ordinances that they have to follow by. So that should be referred, I think, to housing, but also as well as the animal shelter, because they file those complaints, and those complaints go through the court process, that which allows law enforcement to be able, or whoever's enforcing it, because they have people that will go to and pick them up. I just seen them the other day over here, setting up a cage and putting some food in it. So I know that they're out there, you know, doing their thing, but that would probably be the proper action between the housing and the animal shelter.
Okay, by all means necessary. Chairman of the Law and Order Committee, is that a kind of like, do you have any concerns about that? I mean, I just amend this to refer to, because the motion says for and for the people to be able to protect themselves by all means necessary and not to be held liable with the report due in 10 days given to district. For District 4, I believe they want us to report back to their district, but they're saying, the way I read this motion, Councilor Haskell, and you can correct me, is that the people are being able to do whatever they need to do.
The way that it reads, Ms. Whipple, is that they want to be able to take matters into their own hand if it's not resolved, is what it's basically saying, because the issue is not being taken care of.
Mr. Wingspanning?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry, I didn't address that portion. So if there is like an immediate danger, of course, anybody can do whatever they have to do to protect themselves and their family. If those proper actions aren't being taken, just to go over there and take matters into their own hand, I would not suggest it or recommend it. But we have tribal members that had gone to federal prison for like a decade for shooting off firearms within the city limits. So there is some risk that they would be taken. I would not recommend them to do that. There are circumstances, but if those circumstances aren't met, then they could be unfortunately some issues legal issues that may be following up on that. So, but I understand their concern, because if this canine's been assaulting people or biting them, somebody needs to go over there and check on it. And maybe that the animal shelter under the immediate supervision of the chairman? Game fish?
I think in the AO, I think, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that maybe we should include the chairman as far as the referral, so that recommend it to be referred to what they're wanting to do as far as taking care of it. Yep. And then also to the housing, and then to the chairman's office, because the animal shelter is under.
Mr. Chairman, if you'll allow me, I'll make that motion to refer it to Law and Order Committee, to Chairman's Office, and Game Fish and Parks. Will they be okay with that?
Yeah, they just want some answers.
Okay.
You got a motion and a second. My second motion is by Mrs. Miller, second by Ms. Haskell. Mr. Moran?
Thank you. There's a testament to this, what's happening. I have a grandson that lives in Chinatown, and this might be about a year ago. This dog attacked him and bit off his ear, a good portion of his ear. If you look at him, it's missing. And the trauma that he suffered, and nothing happened to that dog. And that was about a year ago. So here we are talking about the same kind of issues. And I'm hoping, and it's just a FYI for everybody, but I'm hoping we do something now. I mean, let's get something done so that it doesn't happen. Ricky?
Mr. Chairman, can we add also referral to the Housing Authority? Because they have, according to Council Representative Brink's-Plenty, they have a policy if they're a Housing Authority house about the dogs. But the reason I'm referring it to Law and Order is I think we need to look at the Law and Order Code, because I think there's something in there about an animal control code. And I think we need to take a look at that, and we need to make some changes to it. So thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
We had Ethel, Miss Morgan, at our Health Committee meeting and on another issue. And that was one of the questions that was asked. And she told us that they're revising that code that allows for people to take, measures to protect themselves. So they're revising that animal control code.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. 12 yes, 0 no, motion carries. Mrs. Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion made by Jackie Riddle, second by Jaren Big Eagle, for District 4 reps to follow up with Jackie Riddle's dog incident with the AO in regards to dog bites, and we will do that. We will redo that on that, follow up on that. Mr. Chairman, so I have some concerns from some District 4 constituents with regards to an incident that was referred to the administration and the Attorney General. And their concern is about the Timberlake community or city of Timberlake charging the members there, increasing their rates to pay a debt that's, do you remember talking about the well that was built there? Do you know what I mean? And it was on, was it on reservation land, or was it on, anyway, the concern about them making a loan based on the well and then charging the members of our tribe to pay the loan off. Anyway, that was referred to you and to the Attorney General, and they haven't received a response yet, and it's been, August, September, October, you know what I mean? It's been a while, and they would like a response, but also one of the District 4 members who live in Timberlake asked if there's a way the tribe could write a letter to the city of Eagle Butte asking that. Timberlake, yeah, city of Timberlake asking for them not to charge them this extra fee until this situation is resolved between the tribe and the city. I wasn't at the District 4 meeting, but I know that I did receive a call. I'm sure it wasn't discussed because I don't see it in the minutes. So I'll make a motion to refer that to administration. Writing a letter regarding the increase in water rates to the Timberlake residents that
I'll
are members of
second
our
the
tribe.
motion.
Okay, we got a motion by Mrs. Miller, second by Ms. Lee to refer to the administration to draft a letter. Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, can I elaborate a little bit on that? So I don't currently know what's going on up there. I do know that apparently they took out a loan to improve the infrastructure up there, but, and this is hearsay, I don't have anything, but what they're being told is they're not upgrading the
Housing Authority.
housing side of this. They're only upgrading the city side of it, but this housing residents are being charged the same rate without the upgrades. So that is where this issue is coming from. And like I said, I have nothing in front of me to verify that information. That is just what we were being told. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we sent you a bill and a letter and all that information. Do you know what I mean? That was given to Chairman Frazier by the same person that lives in Housing Authority Housing. So that'll be my motion then.
Okay, we got a motion and a second for refer to the administration. All in favor, raise your hand. 12 yes, 0 no, motion carries. Mrs. Miller?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, believe Grace Kesto, an elderly in our district, is requiring, you guys, was it as, it was sent to me and it wasn't in the district minutes and I didn't get a chance to address it, but I know that every 5 years our elderly are allowed to have a stove, refrigerator, a washer, dryer, correct, furnace, hot water heater. And so I'd like to make a motion to refer the issue to the treasurer and to you with regards to Grace Kesto's request.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to refer.
Grace Kesto's request.
Motions by
Stove? For
Motions
stove.
by Mrs. Miller, second by Ms. Lee. Appliances
Chairman?
for her place, yes.
Mr. Chairman, I believe we've addressed that in the Human Service Committee. Every time a request like that comes through, we approve it. And I'm pretty sure we did for Grace.
Okay, all right. I'll just make the motion and just in case.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Okay, all in favor of the referral, raise your hand. 12 yes, motion carries. Mrs. Miller?
Mr. Chairman, District 4 Council reps, did I leave anything out that wasn't listed in our minutes that needed to be addressed within our district? Okay, yes, Mr. Chairman, there was also another meeting where we didn't have a quorum. Oh, let me get there. District 4 had a regular district meeting in Eagle Butte. It was on Sunday, November 19th, 2023 at 3 p.m. at the, November 30th, 2023, Thursday, at the Cheyenne River Housing Authority. And Mr. Chairman, they did not have a quorum, and so they adjourned at the meeting at 7:30. The meeting was supposed to be at 6:30, and they waited an hour. So I'm submitting that for the record. So it'd be November 30th, 2023, District 4 meeting, so that the district chair and district secretary can get paid. This is a rescheduled meeting from November 15th, 2023. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I believe that's all.
Is that it for District 4? Okay, District 5? Mr. Binks-Money?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Hall was gonna present the
Okay.
district minute.
Did you want to present the minutes? We'll give you the floor, Mrs. Hall.
For November, I already did October, so
Okay.
these are for Tuesday, November 28th, 2023 at 7 o'clock. The meeting was called to order at 7:25. There were 13 people present. Opening prayer, Roxy Holloway. Motion by Albert Spotted Bear, seconded by Janine Bartlett, to approve Sydney Dupree as acting secretary and to get paid for the meeting. And apparently that's already been taken care of. Motion by Albert Spotted Bear, seconded by Janine Bartlett, to approve Cordell Brings Plenty as acting sergeant at arms and to get paid for the meeting. 11:28.
Well, Madam Secretary said we need motions on those ones to
We do?
pay them.
We do need, okay. I'll make that motion for Sydney.
Okay, motion by Mrs. Hall to approve the Sydney Dupree for District Secretary, second by Mr. Walters. Ms. Haskell.
Legality of them, and for no other reason than you guys, when these minutes are being taken, there's 14 yes, 0 no. The next one dropped down to 8, which is a broken quorum. We go back up to 14, 11, 11, and then on the next page, there's another broken quorum with, that one says there is, but the 8 yes, 0 not voting, that's a quorum issue unless it's a typo. Thank you.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Madam Secretary, please call for the vote.
Bryce Sindowitz,
Oh,
Steve Moran,
Yes.
Ted Knife Jr. Yes. John Kessler.
Yep.
Kenrick Dupree. Sharon Lee,
Yes.
Mary Miller. Yes. Kelsey Haskell,
Yes.
Thad Rose.
Yes.
Derek Bartlett, absent Francine Hall,
Yes.
Joe Brings Plenty,
Uh,
Bob Walters, Ronald Russo, absent Tuffy Thompson, absent. Thank you.
Okay, 12 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain, 3 absent, motion carries. Mrs. Hall?
Sorry. Seconded by Janine Bartlett to approve Cordell Brings Plenty as acting sergeant at arms and to get paid for the meeting, 11/28/23. That's my motion.
Okay, we got a motion by Mrs. Hall, second by Mr. Walters. Madam Secretary, please call for the vote.
Bryce Sindowitz, absent Steve Moran,
Yes.
Ted?
Yep.
Yes.
It's your vote, Madam.
I'm gonna abstain because the vote says there's only 8 yes, 0 no, 0 not voting. That's not a quorum. Thank you.
He had 13 people there.
Oh, that's what I'm asking though, can we clarify if this is a typo?
Okay,
Because,
we're doing a roll call vote. Madam Secretary, please continue.
all right.
No.
Abstain.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Huh?
Eight yes, 2 no, 1 abstain, 4 absent. Motion carries. Mrs. Hall.
Motion by Janine Bartlett, seconded by Roxy Holloway to approve Council Representative Francine Hall as acting chairwoman and get paid for the meeting at 11/28/23. That's my motion. Can I make that
I
motion? or
can,
can
let me
you
make that motion. Let me make that.
We've got a motion by Mr. Brinksplenny, second by Mr. Walters. Comments or questions, Madam Secretary? Please call for the vote.
Bryce Underwoods? Absent Steve Moran?
Yes.
Ted Ibe Jr.? Yes. John Kessler?
Yes.
Kenrick DePriest? Sharon Lee?
Yes.
Mary Miller? Yes. Kelsey Haskell?
Yes.
Thad Rose?
Yes.
Derek Bartlett? Absent. Francine Hall?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Abstain.
Joe Brinksplenny?
Abstain. No, I was kidding. Yes. How?
Bob Walters?
Out.
Ronald Russo? Absent. Tuffy Thompson? Absent. Thank you.
Ten yes, 0 no, 1 abstain, 4 absent. Motion carries. Mrs. Hall.
Okay. Motion by Jackie Dunn, seconded by Raven Thompson to approve 200 worth of gift cards for children 18 and younger with no stipulations. And on the minutes, there was a bid that was submitted by the Seventh Generation Cinema, and it's for 200 gift cards at $15 for a total of $3,000, and that's to be used for during the Christmas break, that our students 18 and younger can go to the movies during their Christmas break. And Derek had reported apparently in October's meeting that the district had money to do this. So based on that, there was like a little committee that went and took care of this, got the bids. They got like two bids, I think it was. One was and it was from Seventh Generation Cinema, and one was for 150. One bid, 150 and that for $20. And then this one was 200 at 15. And so the district, that's what this motion is, to approve the 200 gift cards at 15. That'd be my motion.
Second.
Okay, got a motion by Mrs. Hall, second by Mr. Walters.
Oh, really? Mr. Kessler said I should refer that to budget. Oh, it's coming out of, Mr. Keckler, would you clarify that, please?
Okay, the district has two pots of money. They have their money as a district, the $3,000, or 10 nowadays, I guess. But you also have the Tetra money that was given out in the amount of 50,000. And I don't know if you guys have ever used any of it, so that money is available to you. Normally what happens with that Tetra money is you guys have a board that is set up of your District 5 people, and it's not the district, it's not a council meeting, and that board has the ability to organize and meet and make motions and get things done like that. And that's still there. Bob shaking his head, yes. I don't think you've used any of the money, I don't
I don't
think.
think we have.
Mr. Chairman, what has to happen, I don't know if it has ever happened again, there was a community board for District 5, I think at Blue Part or whatever. And so what has to happen, there has to be a community meeting and a community board, and that's where the $50,000 comes into play. Our district, all these years, has not used any of it, that I know of anyway.
Yeah, so it's coming out of district funds, because he said Derek in October reported to the district that he had talked with Treasurer Keckler, and that this was coming out of our district allocation anyway.
You could do that with your motion. I haven't seen it, I don't think. But if you do this motion, then you guys can attach the motion to the voucher, and 3,000 come out of 10,000 annual allocation.
Okay, you can do that. Thank you.
Okay, Madam Secretary, call for the vote.
Bryce Underwoods. Steve Moran.
Yes.
Ted Ive Jr.
Yes.
John Kessler.
Yes.
Kenrick DePreez. Sharon Lee.
Yes.
Mary Miller. Kelsey Haskell.
Yes.
Thad Rose.
Yes.
Derek Bartlett. Absent Francine Hall.
Yes.
Joe Brinksplenny. Bob Walters. Ronald Russo. Absent Tuffy Thompson. Absent.
Twelve yes, 0 no's, 0 abstain, 3 absent, motion carries. Mrs. Hall?
Motion by Jackie Dunn, seconded by Janine Bartlett, to have tribal council look into Badger Park on why people are over income. Housing should be for everyone, and why are houses boarded up? I guess motion to refer that to Housing Authority?
Second.
What?
We've got a motion to refer to the Housing Authority
Yeah,
by
and to
Mrs. Hall.
request that the director come to the district meeting to explain that. One of the, I think it was Janine Bartlett that said a relative of hers was refused a house because they said she was over income. You know. Oh, that'd be my motion then, to refer it to Housing Authority with a request that the Housing Authority Director come to the next District 5 meeting.
I think you do a separate motion on that, and after your minutes, you can do a motion to invite her.
Okay.
I think because you're adding on to the motion currently, so just want to refer it to the housing.
Yes.
Okay, is there a second?
Yep, second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Hall, second by Mr. Walters to refer to Housing Authority. All in favor, raise your hand. 12 yes, motion carries. Mrs. Hall?
Motion by Jackie Dunn, seconded by Janine Bartlett, to have a forensic audit on Cheyenne River Housing Authority. I get- Go ahead.
Mrs. Miller?
The Housing Authority, I believe, has regular audits already. When Tribal Council served on the Housing Authority Board, we would get those reports. And so I think that when the Housing Authority Director comes to visit the District 5, she would be able to, you know what I mean, address that at your meeting too. But I know they get regular audits already.
What? I think. But that's just a regular audit. It's not like a forensic audit, right? Okay. Motion to refer it to housing and to administration?
Second?
Okay, we got a motion to refer by Mrs. Hall, second by Mr. Walters. Mr. Brinkspanning?
I do believe that, also too, those reports are supposed to be given here. I remember back in the day when, Mr. Duchno would come up here and give reports, and, Mr. Garrow as well. So I think we probably need to get back in that practice again. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, yep, I was thinking that same thing, but I'm glad you pointed that out, so. We can do that, maybe next month, or invite, have them report like quarterly or something to the council.
Mr. Chairman, you remember she was supposed to, we asked some of council reps to have her come and report to council anyway because members were being charged back rent. Was it the Human Services Committee? We were getting all those requests, and they were a large amount of dollars of people being charged back rent. And so to count as to why that was taking place. I think we discussed it on council floor, didn't we? And we had asked, council had come to the consensus that they were gonna have her come and give us a report.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to refer. All in favor, raise your hand. 12 yes, 0 no, motion carries. Mrs. Hall?
A motion by Raven Thompson, seconded by Jackie Dunn, to have the lagoon that's behind Fox Ridge 1 and 2 to be fenced off with a chain link for the safety of the children. And they talked about how that there's no fence, or if there was a fence, it's down. And they're just concerned that the children, you know, somebody might, especially the children, wander off and fall in and maybe drown. So they're just kind of concerned about that. There were 14 yes and 0 not voting, so the motion carried. So I don't know who to refer that to. Administration? Budget?
No,
Oh,
housing,
projects, tribal projects.
no, it's a housing issue.
Oh,
You can refer it to the housing and administration. We'll make sure that gets done.
okay, thank you. That'd be my motion, refer to housing and administration.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion to refer to housing and also the administration by Mrs. Hall, second by Mr. Walters. All in favor, raise your hand. 11 yes, 1 not voting, motion carries. Mrs. Hall?
Okay, there was a motion by Raven Thompson, seconded by Jackie Dunn, to have Derek Bartlett removed as District 5 Chairman. 7 yes, 9 no, motion failed. Motion by Raven Thompson, seconded by Jackie Dunn, to have a special meeting in 5 days to discuss the District 5 Chairman. 13 yes, 0 no, 0 not voting. Motion carried. That's in-house due to the death of his grandmother. that meeting didn't happen, but when he's aware of it, so he'll, he can call that special meeting. Thank you. Motion by Joe Minor, seconded by Joseph Whiteeyes, by executive resolution to develop new sewer line north of Highway 212 from Miniwashte and to no longer use the city's services. 12 yes, 0 no, 0 not voting, motion carried. That'd be my motion.
Mr. Chairman, when the districts come in with a resolution, by resolution, they have to present the resolution from their district in the minutes. That has been the process in the past. It was like when District 4 wanted to make an amendment, they had to do it by resolution. So usually the resolution is attached to the district minutes. You know what I mean?
The reason that they didn't do that is because of, they didn't have all the information, but they said they wanted it done by executive resolution because the chairman's office would have that information and the AG could help to develop that, that resolution.
Go ahead, Mr. Walters.
I believe this issue is already being worked on for North 212 to be put out to the Elk Pasture Lagoon. Mr. Chairman, I believe we had a meeting and we talked about it and what has to happen for No Heart and North 212 to be pushed out towards the tribal lagoon. I believe it's being worked on.
Okay, so no action then because it's being worked on?
You can refer it to our office just for the record, and definitely it's been worked on, and that's actually the plan.
Yeah, motion to refer to chairman's office.
Okay, we got a motion by Mrs. Hall, second by Mr. Brinks, planning to refer to the chairman's office. All in favor, raise your hand. Got 12 yes, 11 yes, 1 not voting, motion carries. Mrs. Hall, go ahead, Mr. Brinks, planning, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Real quick too, could you email us that response you get so that we can just take it to the next district meeting?
Okay, yep,
Thank you, Mr.
I'll do.
Okay, motion by Wendell Phillips, seconded by Jackie Dunn to have tribal council reaffirm council action that no evictions on the reservation November 1 to April 1st and to send a copy to the housing authority. 11 yes, 0 no, 0 not voting, motion carried. That'll be my motion.
We got a motion by Mrs. Hall, second by Mr. Brinks. Any comments, Mr. Walters?
Mr. Chairman, in your absence, we did get that information. It was emailed up to the housing authority, but it could just refer it to administration and have it done again.
Okay, that'll be my motion to refer it to the chairman's office.
Okay, motions to refer to the chairman's office. Second still there, Mr. Brinks, planning. Second still there, all in favor, raise your hand. Got 11 yes, 1 not voting, motion carries. Mrs. Hall.
Motion by RJ Lawrence, second by Cassandra Littlestar to suspend all tribal council advances. 12 yes, 0 no, 0 not voting. And I'm not going to make a motion.
Motion by Mrs. Miller. Is there a second? Okay, we need a second to continue. Otherwise, we're called out of order due to no second. Mrs. Hall, please continue.
Okay. Motion by Al Fastor, seconded by Roxy Holloway, to amend Animal Control Code to hold owners liable 13 yes, 0 no, 0 not voting, motion carried. That'll be my motion.
Okay, we got a motion by Mrs. Hall, second by Mr. Kessler. Comments? Comments, Mr. Brinkman, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm thinking that, like, the previous discussion in regards to some of the issues with the animals, it should probably be referred to law and order, to administration, because we're gonna have to work together on this, and then also housing.
Okay, that'll be my motion then, to refer to Law and Order Committee, Housing Authority, to work collaboratively to address this issue. Oh, and admin, excuse me.
Okay, motion's been changed to refer to those parties. Second still there by Mr. Kessler. All in favor, raise your hand. 12 yes, 0 no, motion carries. Mrs. Hall?
Motion by Sherry, seconded by Roxy Holloway, to declare a state of emergency on dog issues in all districts. 13 yes, 0 no, 0 not voting. I'd like to refer that to administration.
Okay, we got a motion to refer to administration, and second by Mr. Kessler. All in favor, raise your hand. 12 yes, motion carries. Mrs. Hall?
Motion by Jackie Dunn, seconded by Marlon Minor, to remove Ramona Simon as the Tribal Health CEO. Since council doesn't handle personnel issues, I'd like to refer that to the Tribal Health Committee.
You can just take that there if you like, as you're the chair. Otherwise, the motion's out of order due to its personnel.
Okay, out of order. Okay, motion by Jackie Dunn, seconded by Roxy Holloway, to have all tribal jobs go through the process of the hiring board. 12 yes, 0 no, 0 not voting. What precipitated this in the discussion was they had seen an article, an ad actually, in the Timberlake Topic, and it was advertising for procurement specialists for tribal health. And the qualifications, you had to have a Juris Doctorate degree. And so that raised some red flags with some of the constituents in District 5, and they said, why isn't this going through the process, established process, and going through the hiring board? And why requiring a Juris Doctorate degree? So I guess, refer that to administration?
I believe, yeah, I think that's right. There's currently, that's the state we're in, is all the jobs get hired by the hiring board. I know you're referring to like a contract advertisement. I seen that as well. But you want to refer to the office, that's fine, that's up to you, or the administration.
Yeah, refer it to administration.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Mrs. Hall, refer to administration, second by Mr. Walters. All in favor, raise your hand. 12 yes, 0 no, motion carries. Mrs. Hall?
Motion by Joseph Whiteye, seconded by Jackie Dunn, to reaffirm the tribe's support with DAPL and to cancel KLJ Engineering LLC contract with the Roads Department because they have conflict of interest which possesses a threat to tribal sovereignty and welfare to future generations. And I'd like to refer that to the administration.
Second.
to Chairman's office.
Okay, motion's been referred to the administration chairman's office by Mrs. Hall, second by Mr. Walters. All in favor, raise your hand. Got 12 yes, 0 no, motion carries. Mrs. Hall?
And then we had a motion by Al Fastor, seconded by Joseph Whiteeyes, to adjourn the meeting at 9:15 PM. 11 yes, 0 not voting, motion carried.
Go ahead, Mr. Walters.
Mr. Chairman, we have COVID on the rise again. And we need a place to let people go and so they can stay away from their families again. I ran into it this past week with a young person, and they couldn't go home because of one of the parents having an illness. And so I did get a hold of Mr. Dunsmore and put them in the vets building. But we need to look at possibly finding some place for people to be able to quarantine when they have elderly parents or somebody with a sickness or something and they're not able to go back to their home. The other thing that I see that we need, we have relatives that are on the street yet, and they're handicapped relatives, and they need a place to go. And we run into it every day, every night. And they're not able to go some places. So we need to look at that, trying to find a place to set up or something for these people to go, especially now that it's getting colder and stuff. Thank you.
Motion, Chairman, to follow the step up, make that motion to empower you guys to deal with the homeless, disabled, and to the rise on the COVID, to seek the Veteran Center to house, isolate individuals. Can we get those numbers?
I don't have numbers, Mr. Chairman. I'm just saying that this past week, there's quite a bit of COVID in some of the offices. And not only in the offices, but in individuals themselves. I don't have numbers, Mr. Chairman, and I will not say names. Just that we need a place to let them quarantine when they can't go back to their homes because of not wanting to get other family members sick.
Okay, we got a motion by Mr. Underwoods. Is there a second?
To refer to admin?
Second by Mrs. Miller. Is that a referral, Mr. Underwoods, or is that? Okay, that's a referral, so. Refer, getting a place for, yeah. Okay, the motion is to refer to the administration by Mr. Underwood, second by Mr. Walters, to find a place for disabled, homeless, or anyone else. Use the Veteran Center or find another suitable location. I'm sorry. Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. 12 yes, 0 no, motion carries. We got one more set of minutes for the District 6, but we don't know District 6 here to present. I can present them if you like, and then we have a resolution to take up, and then we can probably adjourn the session and finish at a later date. There's packs of minutes we got to do. District 6 meeting, they had a 11:15. It says 2024, but I think they mean 23, so November 15th, 2023, held at Whitehorse Community Building. Meetings called to order at 6:07. Frankie Thompson did the opening prayer. And then Frankie Thompson made a motion to approve last month's District 6 minutes, in-house. Frankie Thompson made a motion to add all the communities in District 6 for snow removal equipment. Donnie Swan, Senior, second the motion. 13 yes, 0 no, 1 abstain. Council, you want to refer that to the tribal transportation?
Motion to
Chairman.
refer transportation.
Oh, do you guys do these already? So it's disapproved? So we'll go on to the next one.
Chairman, there's a resolution to buy generators and some snow removal equipment for all the communities. That's by resolution. It was read into the record. We need to act on that. Rango.
Okay, we'll just go to the next one then. Faye Russo made a motion for both District 6 reps to meet with Timberlake officials about running a sports bus for District 6. Caleb Palmer seconded the motion. 12 yes, 0 no, 2 abstain. Council, any action?
Second.
Is
Oh,
that
maybe
considered
that's-
in-house?
Yeah, you're right, it's in-house. So we'll go on next one. District 6 Rep Ron Russo gave an update. Then Sean Traversy made a motion to implement a policy to protect Native American athletes from racism while off-reservation and on-reservation. Donnie Swan seconded the motion. 11 yes, 0 no, 2 abstain.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Brinkspani,
Second.
second by Mr. Underwoods.
Discussion?
Mr. Brinkspani, then Mrs. Hall.
The racism, discrimination that Native American athletes face out there is still occurring today. There's through amateur boxing, we face it all the time. I mean, they have restrictions on how individual that has long hair has to wear their hair. They made exceptions for individuals from other countries, like to wear the garments that are traditional to them, but they don't recognize, what we have as far as what our traditional beliefs were. There was a young Navajo girl that was fighting in the Worlds, and she was wanting to wear her traditional moccasins that came up to her knees, and they wouldn't slip or anything, but they made an issue of it, so she couldn't wear them. It's an issue for me because we keep having to deal with it because other ethnic groups are allowed to utilize or practice or somewhat of their native regalia from wherever they come from, but just not us. It's like we don't have a voice when it comes to the sports out there to be recognized for it as well. So I think this is a good motion. This would help. It definitely help us. It's something that we can send to USA Boxing as well too. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mrs. Hall.
I know this keeps happening, not only here, but I've been honored to work with other tribes as their school superintendent. And we've had this issue happen. And the councils there took decisive action by passing a resolution supporting the students that encounter this racism, discrimination in sports. And they stand behind them, support them. And you know, it has resulted in a complaint through to the Office of Civil Rights. And once that happens, boy, the offending schools, then they, you know, becomes incumbent upon them to do something. Either take disciplinary action or implement a policy, you know, when and if this ever happens again, you know, that these are the steps they're going to take to correct it. So I'm glad to see, you know, that if we do something like that from a tribal council level, but I also think that, you know, we've got a tribal education agency that could assist the chairman's office if they need assistance, you know, because I know he's got a good staff over there too that can do the research and come up with a policy. So I guess isn't the motion to refer it to the chairman's office?
Mr. Chairman?
Thank you.
Okay, it was to approve, but what we could do is refer it to claims. Mr. Chairman? Refer it to claims so the policy can be discussed and drafted there. But also too, I would like to see Chairman LeBeau carry this to the Great Plains Tribal Chairmen's Association and get support from them as well. Because something with that much support will have a lot of will carry some weight when it comes to having these organizations out here that recognize that, you know, we are a people. We have a way. We have a means. We have an identity, and it's very important for us as well. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can amend that motion to refer it to claims.
Okay, motion's been amended to refer to claims by Mr. Brinksmoney. Second still there. Second that. Bryce, do you still second that? Okay, second still there.
You want us to approve it and refer, since you're ready? Okay, yeah, approve and refer. There we go.
Okay, motion's been amended to approve and refer. Bryce Underwood, do you still second that? Okay, second still there. All in favor, raise your hand. 12 yes, 0 no, motion carries. Mr. Thompson, please continue. Okay, next we have Sean Travers. He made a motion for tribal reps if they are absent from meetings without probable cause to be faced with consequences and be fined. Seconds by Elizabeth Duchesneau. And then the vote count was 13 yes, 1 no, 1 abstain. Any action, council members?
Duffy just messaged me and said it's in-house. Nah, I was kidding.
It's just for District 6. Okay, we'll move on to the next one, council members. Elizabeth Duchesneau made a motion to vacate order of having Children's Village in La Plante due to residents being against Children's Village being in La Plante. Merle Marshall second the motion. 13 yes, 0 no, 1 abstain. Any action, council?
I have a question.
Good.
Are they talking about that Simply Smiles buildings
Yeah.
that we are purchasing or purchased? Right?
Right.
Well, we have to use it for what it's spelled out for, right? So we can't take away it being a shelter or whatever you want to call it, a children's village, because of the loans that are out there. Thank you.
Okay, council, I believe we should move on to the next one here. Yeah, no action on that. Lynn Mann made a motion to have Ron Russo back on Law and Order Committee. Motion second by Sean Traversy. 13 yes, 0 no, 1 abstain. Motion passed in the district. Any action, council? Right.
Motion to rescind.
Second.
Motion to rescind the prior, well, we're kind of on district minutes, so we can, we'll go, we can do your motion, Mr. Brinks-Plenty, and, but let's do the district minutes first. So we'll continue, no action on that. And Ann Walker made a motion to pave road from White Horse to Promise and to Red Top Hill. Second by Elizabeth Duchesneau, 13 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain. Council, what do you want to do with this motion? Motion to refer to roads by Ms. Haskell, second by Mr. Brinks-Plenty. All in favor, raise your hand. 12 yes, motion carries. We go on to the next one here. It's just a motion to adjourn. That's it for the District 6 minutes.
Mr.
Thanks.
Chairman, point of clarification, please. What did we do on the motion to have Ron Russo back on the Law and Order Committee? I missed that.
We didn't take no action on that because there's a motion in place that would have to be rescinded first. So then we said Mr. Brinks-Plenty can make his motion to rescind after the minutes are done presenting. So, Mr. Brinks-Plenty, go ahead.
I'll make that motion to rescind that action, keeping Mr. Russo off Law and Order.
We've got a motion by Mr. Brinks-Plenty to rescind the prior action on Councilman Russo regarding his being able to sit on Law and Order Committee. Currently, he can't because of the motion, so this motion is to rescind that motion, second by Mr. Walters. Ms. Lee?
Thank you, Chairman LeBeau. Do you know if he has gotten his off the committee by council action? So I'm just wondering, did he get his cases all resolved then? Because that was what it was.
I don't think so.
Where it's
I
coming
believe they were continued, is what the report I got. They were they were scheduled, but I believe they were continued for some reason. Go ahead, Miss Miller.
Shouldn't it be a motion to reconsider? And then if that passes, then it's a motion to, you know what I mean? Because it's a council action. So you're asking permission for council to reconsider. Is that correct or am I wrong?
Usually we just do motions to reconsider when it's a failed motion. This is a standing council motion. Any other comments on the motion to rescind? Madam Secretary, please call for the vote.
Bryce Cinderwoods? Knife Jr.? Oh, excuse me, sorry. Steve Moran?
Yes.
Knife Jr.? John Kessler?
Abstain.
Kenrick DePreez? Sharon Lee?
No.
Mary Miller?
No.
Kelsey Haskell?
No.
Thad Rose?
No.
Derek Bartlett? Absent. Francine Hall?
Yes.
Joe Brinks-Plenty?
How?
Bob Walters? Ronald Russo? Absent. Tuffy Thompson? Absent. Thank you.
Six yes, 4 no, 2 abstain, 3 absent. Motion fails. Council, we got a resolution to do, then we can adjourn this meeting. Mrs. Lee, then Mr. Kessler.
Thank you, Chairman. After this, can I bring up this, what I had texted you? I had James Stevens, the owner of Vilas. He doesn't own the building, but he owns the store, and he owns a store in Pier. He needs to find a different building to move his store to. They need to expand the pharmacy, and he can't do it in the current location, and there's some structural problems with the current location, and so he needs to find a different place to, so he's asking the tribe if there's a place where he could lease some land from the tribe, or he's looking for anywhere in Eagle Butte to move it to at this point. So he did send me an email, and I told him I would present it, and it would have to be referred to the land committee. And I thought maybe administration to help follow things along too. So can I bring that up, do that now? Or
You can do that now.
Okay, I'll make a motion then to refer James Stevens' request to the land committee and administration. And I can give, forward the email to everybody, to the secretaries.
Okay, we got a motion by Mrs. Lee to refer to the land committee and to the administration. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Kessler regarding a land assignment for a store, Vilas.
What's his name?
James Stevens, and I'll forward you the email. He's looking for a tribal land to lease for a Vilas store, because he needs to move out of the current location.
Second by Mr. Kessler.
Mr. Chairman, is he a tribal member?
No, he's from Gettysburg. He owns a Vilas store here, but he don't own the building. It's owned by Mick Jones. He leases it from Mick, and then he owns the Vilas in Pier. But he needs to move out of that current building in Eagle Butte. Yeah, he services a lot of tribal members. They want to expand the pharmacy, but they can't because it's, they don't have no way to expand it right now. And there's structural problems with the building they're in now that they're leasing. And he said it's getting really bad where they need to move out of there anyway.
So did he identify some land that he's trying to?
No, he's just looking right now. And he just reached out to me. I don't know how he got my name, or maybe just someone at the store had him call me, but he wanted me to bring this up to council, and so he sent me an email.
Maybe we should refer this to land. So we can
That was my motion, to refer to the land committee and to administration. I thought they could help move things along too, so. They service a lot of tribal members in the pharmacy as well.
Okay, motions to refer to land and administration. All in favor, raise your hand. Ten yes, opposed, not voting.
Mr. Chairman?
Two not voting, motion carries. Mrs. Hall.
Mr. Chairman, I just would like to thank my colleagues for assisting me in reading the minutes and knowing who to refer to, and being new on the council. I don't quite understand or know how to do some of this business, so I appreciate your guidance and your assistance. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have one. Chairman.
Mr. Walters.
Mr. Chairman, we get a lot of relatives that have to come to Eagle Butte when there's no place for them to go, fires into our emergency shelters or whatever. What about the communities that have a community building? Open them up so that people wouldn't have to come clear up here for emergency shelters, especially through the winter. If the other communities could open up their community buildings for our relatives to go during the wintertime.
Okay. We can look at that, Mr. Walters. I believe we have a list of shelters that are emergency if needed, so.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Kessler?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me this time to present the Techo Yate Committee minutes from Wednesday, September 27th, 2023 at the Techo office. Representatives in attendance was myself as the chair, Mr. Rose as the vice chair, Also in attendance was Representative Miller Whitebull, Thompson, Hall, Haskell, Moran, Bartlett, Brings Plenty, Lee, and Dupree's. Also in attendance was the Tetra staff, Ms. Traversy and Holly-Anna's Tetra in-house counsel. Meeting was called to order at 8:25. Prayer was given by Mr. Thompson. Agenda items and discussion. It was annual appropriations. First motion was by Representative Miller Whitebull to appropriate $12.5 million for the 2023 Tetra annual allocation, seconded by Representative Thompson. 10-4, 0 opposed, 0 abstained. Motion carried. That's my motion.
Okay, we got a motion by Mr. Kessler, second by Mrs. Whitebull. Comments or questions? Mr. Underwoods.
In the ordinance, it says that membership will have a say in appropriations, which means the communities and our membership have say in appropriations. So we're not allowing that to happen with council reps sitting on the Oyate committee. They're depriving our membership of what the law states that they will have say in appropriations. This body is blocking that by being on the Oyate committee, Tetra committee. You're blocking the people's say on appropriations. And then when you go to the Oyate committee authorities, the council reserves all the authorities. But there's supposed to be an allocation that the Oyate committee comes up with, an allocation recommendation to council. Again, we're depriving our people from being participants in this money ordinance. And it always has been controlled by council reps. So read the law. It's clear that council reps shouldn't be on the Oyate committee, and that you persist to be on there, and we persist to be the poorest counties in America. What's going on, man? How come you guys can't deal with poverty? Give us some of that money. Let us deal with it, you know. We'll show you how to deal with it, create jobs. We'll show you how to do it, because you guys ain't doing it. You guys are keeping our people poor. You guys are not in compliance with the law. Chairman, there is a resolution whenever, not now since you're going to adjourn, but maybe on the next session, we need to get that resolution on the table and go. Maybe you can have Tracy sitting in here, the Attorney General, and go over the law with the council, the authorities in Ordinance 74, so it's clear. This ordinance really been manipulated by attorneys and council reps, and yet the people still haven't been able to be afforded any kind of action. We're denying that, Chairman. It's not good. It's not right. We got to educate our people, you know. If we want to address poverty, we got to educate our people on how to get out of poverty. So that's the main goal of this money here. These trust funds dealing with all these issues that we have. But how come we're not excelling? How come we still have poverty? How come, you know, nothing's changed? It's because of what I'm saying, you know. You guys allow the people in. It's called Oyate for a reason. And some of the members sitting around the table have kept that ball in their court and not in the people's court, Chairman. So I can't support the resolution. Below my law.
Mr. Brings Plenty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
real quick too, in discussion, we had conversation in regards to approval for youth affairs funding. What I was pushing for was for all of the funding to be used for all of our communities, not just restricted to the districts outer communities. To my understanding, that was what the funding was used for in the past, but we have a large amount of children that do live here in Eagle Butte, and they're in just as much need. So that was, if my colleagues remember that conversation in Techa that we had in regards to that funding and how it should be used, then we come to a consensus, but we were advised too to also let your office know that too, since you supervise that program as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also, I'm expected to sing at a Christmas concert, so I'm gonna have to get going. If I may be excused, sir, Mr. Chairman. Okay, thank you.
Are you singing? Yeah. Jingle Bell Rock? Madam Secretary, please call for the vote.
Bryce Underwoods,
Yeah.
Steve Moran,
Yes.
Ted Knight Jr.,
Yes.
John Kessler,
Yes.
Kenrick DePreez, Sharon Lee,
Yes.
Mary Miller, yes. Kelsey Haskell,
Yes.
Thad Rose, Derek Bartlett, absent Francine Hall,
Yes.
Joe Brinksplenny, Bob Walters, Ronald Russo, absent Tuffy Thompson, absent. Thank you.
12 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain, 3 absent, motion carries. Mr. Kessler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next motion was also made by Representative Miller Whitebull to appropriate the 2023 annual allocation, second by Representative Joseph Brinksplenny, by resolution as follows. $905,692 as an annual allocation for the Techa office annual budget. $30,000 as an annual allocation for the Techa board annual budget. $2.6 million as an annual allocation to the CRST Education Agency for the education component of the Education, Health, Recreation, and Social Welfare Fund 3. $1,125,000 as an annual allocation to the CRST Tribal Health Department. $1 million for the use of the treatment purposes, and $125,000 for environmental health and sanitation purposes for Wakpa Wash Day Animal Shelter for the health component of Education, Health, Recreation, and Social Welfare Fund 3. The next one was $550,000 as an annual allocation for the recreation component of the Education, Health, Recreation, and Social Welfare Fund 3. $350,000 to the CRST Youth Affairs Office. $100,000 to CRST Game Fish and Parks Department, and $100,000 to the Nutrition Center. The next one was $1.689308, $1,689,308 as an annual allocation for the social welfare component of the Education, Health, Recreation, and Social Welfare Fund, Fund 3. $700,000 to the CRST Support Services Office. $220,000 to the KP radio station. $400,000 for use by the old agency shelter and the family shelter. $200,000 to the cultural preservation, and $169,308 to the Fair Board, and that would be for the 2024 annual Labor Day celebration. $600,000 to the reinvestment to the Ocheti Shakoi Power Authority. And the last one is the $5 million for the Techa competitive funding source. 10-4, 0 opposed, 0 abstained, motion carried. That's my motion.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Mr. Kessler, second by Mrs. Lee. Motions with resolution, right?
Yes.
Okay, motions with resolution. You want to read that in?
Yes, I will. Unless Mr. Rose wants it. Okay, I'll go ahead and take it. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I will begin with the third whereas. Pursuant to its constitutionally delegated powers, the Tribal Council on March 9th, 2012 enacted Ordinance 74, Tribal Equitable Compensation Act, which provides a process for administering the settlement funds received by the tribe in accordance with PL 106-511, the Cheyenne River Tribal Equitable Compensation Act, and whereas pursuant to CRST Tribal Equitable Compensation Act, Ordinance 74, 104, the Tribal Council funds the three categories of this ordinance: the ongoing operations of the Techa Board and the administrative expense of the Techa office, and pursuant to Ordinance 74, Section 401, the annual allocated program that fall under the Fund 3, Education, Health, Recreation, and Social Welfare Fund. And whereas the annual operating budget of the Techa office was approved by Techa Oyate Committee on September 27th, 2023 in the amount of $905,692. And whereas the annual operating budget of the Techa Board was approved by the Techa Oyate Committee on September 27th, 2023 in the amount of $30,000. And whereas an annual allocation for the education component of the Education, Health, Recreation, and Social Welfare Fund, Fund 3, to the CRST, Tribal Education Agency, was approved by the Techa Oyate Committee on September 27th, 2023, in the amount of $2,600,000. And whereas the annual allocation for the health component of Education, Health, Recreation, and Social Welfare, Fund 3, to the CRST Tribal Health Department in the amount of $1,125,000 was approved by the Techa Oyate Committee on September 27th, 2023. $1 million for the use of treatment purposes and $125,000 for environmental health and sanitation purposes to the Wakpa Washday Animal Shelter. And whereas an annual allocation for the recreation component, bless you, of the Education, Health, Recreation, and Social Welfare Fund, Fund 3, in the amount of $550,000 was approved by the Techa Oyate Committee on September 27th, 2023. $350,000 to the CRST Youth Affairs Office, $100,000 to CRST Game Fish and Parks Department, and $100,000 to the Elderly Nutrition Center. And whereas an annual allocation to the Social Welfare component of the Education, Health, Recreation, and Social Welfare Fund, Fund 3, in the amount of $1,689,308 was approved by the Techa Oyate Committee on September 27th, 2023. $700,000 to the CRST Support Services Office, $220,000 to the Key radio station, $400,000 for use by the Old Agency Shelter and the Family Shelter, $200,000 to the Cultural Preservation, and $169,308 to the Fair Board. And whereas an annual allocation for reinvestment purposes to the Ochete Shakoi Power Authority was approved by the Techa Oyate Committee on September 27th, 2023, in the amount of $600,000. And whereas the annual allocation for the Techa competitive funding window was approved by the Techa Oyate Committee on September 27th, 2023, in the amount of $5 million Now therefore be it resolved that the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribal Council does hereby approve the operating budget of the Techa office, operating budget of the Techa board, the Techa annual allocation for the Fund 3, education, health, recreation, and social welfare components, and an annual allocation for the reinvestment in an amount not to exceed $12,500,000 and authorizes the drawdown. Finally resolved that nothing in this resolution diminishes, divests, alters, or otherwise affects any inherent treaty, statutory, or other rights of the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe, and the remainder of this disclaimer. That's my motion, Chairman, to approve the resolution.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Kessler, second by Ms. Lee. Comments or questions? Madam Secretary, please call for the vote.
Bryce Underwoods? Steve Moran?
Yes.
Ken Ive Jr.?
Yes. Yes.
John Kessler?
Yes.
Kenrick DePreez? Sharon Lee?
Yes.
Mary Miller?
Yes.
Kelsey Haskell?
Yes.
Thad Rose?
Yes.
Derek Bartlett? Absent Francine Hall?
Yes.
Joe Brings Plenty? Absent Bob Walters? Ronald Russo? Absent Tuffy Thompson? Absent. Thank you.
11 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain, 4 absent, motion carries. Mr. Kessler?
Thank you, Chairman. The next motion was a motion to adjourn at 11 a.m. by Representative Whitebull, seconded by Representative Brings Plenty, 10-4, 0 opposed. Motion carried. That's my motion.
Thank you for the report. Mrs. Hall?
You know, when we were going through this meeting in September, and, you know, I'm asking questions about, and we get those financial reports from the Tetra department. And if you look at those reports, we've got some balances hanging out there, monies that have been awarded to the different grantees, and dating way back to 2012. And, you know, and anyhow, they, what I'd like to recommend to see if we can do this, if we can take all those where they, to me, if they haven't spent it, they don't need it, you know, and especially for those many years that those balances are hanging out there, then let's take those and reallocate those. You know, can we do that? I mean, we have so much need and so forth, and but anyway, I'd like to put that out there on the floor. Thank you.
You want to refer that to the Tetra Yate Committee? Take a look at that with their attorney?
Yes, I'll make that motion to refer that.
Okay, we motion to refer to Tetra Yate Committee. Leftover balances by Mrs. Hall, second by Mr. Kessler. All in favor, raise your hand. 10 yes, 1 absent, motion carries. Council, I thank you for your work today. I'll ask the motion to adjourn. Motion adjourned by Mr. Walters, second by Miss Miller. Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. 9 yes, 1 no. Motion carries. Council, we stand adjourned. I'll ask Mr. Moran for a closing prayer. Council, we'll set up another meeting this month to finish our minutes. Thank you all for coming today, and have a safe and good weekend. Kalamaya.